Yes. Today we will share about our Japan Flying Labs activities. And my name is Taichi. And already I said, so I work with Aoyama Gakuin University in Tokyo area. And my major is geography and remote sensing for mapping. And also, maybe this slide can explain about my icon, the illustration for my face. That is my internet account. My account name is Map Concierge. Sometimes, so you can find my account on the Facebook, Twitter, or other SNS site as a mapping community or online drones community. Anyway, so our target is how to support and how to change the recent situation for more good society with drone power. So many times, so in Japan we have a lot of natural disasters, earthquake, tsunami, volcano, typhoons, and so on. So anyway, if big very serious disaster happened, so immediately we have to work with a local team and the rescue team, and maybe many times we can provide our experience and technology with drones. So our activities origin is 2011's big earthquake and tsunami. Maybe big earthquake happened in that east side of Japan. So, and after that, so a lot of towns and city was destroyed by tsunami, and this aerial photo data taken by our drones in 2011. So this area in Iwate Prefecture, and the tsunami attacked this coast area, and whole buildings destroyed by tsunami. And so maybe you can find, so let's zoom in. So our drone captured this serious situation. So there is no human, no buildings, and no cars. And sometimes so tsunami brought the many ships. And after that ships put on the buildings, top of buildings or ground. Anyway, this situation changed our activities. So if similar or more very serious situation happened, so we can use new technology. That is drones, and maybe And so now we are sharing about our experience, how to get very fresh and very high resolution imagery using by drone. So, and this photo means I'm at many times I explained about our method for the firefighters team in local area. Anyway, so now we are starting a new project in Japan. The project name is DroneBird. DroneBird means like the Thunderbird team with drone. And anyway, so if natural disaster happened, so immediately we can go to the disaster affected area, and we can take a lot of aerial photo data using the drones. So, and this is today's my slide already I shared on the Google Drive, and maybe you can find and you can watch our promotion movie like this, our DroneBird promotion movie. Sorry, that sound in Japanese, but maybe you can understand some animations. So anyway, so this diagram is our activities steps. So made by the World Bank. So in this week, World Bank GFDRR, that is a kind of disaster prevention of the World Bank team, and they published a new document. The name is Information and Communication Technology for Disaster Risk Management in Japan. So maybe you can download as PDF file, very huge size. But so, and already we shared our experience and our method for that. Those World Bank team or other worldwide or local domestic members. Anyway, so this diagram can explain. So if disaster happened, so our crowdsourcing mapping team with drone, so we can take very fresh aerial photo data using by drone, and after that, so we can share those data on the net. So the net, it means many times we can collaborate with open geospatial community. Example, so if we take a lot of aerial photo data and after that we can calculate also mosaic data set as a geotiffs or XYZ tiled data set. Anyway, so when we made also mosaic data, we can upload on the open aerial map platform. That is an open data community for drones. And also we can upload our data set on GitHub too. So GitHub is our open platform for engineers community. Anyway, so we can choose good platform, and of course we can upload those data on both or many platforms. And then, so we can provide those aerial photo data for more open geospatial community like the Open Street Map community or other Google Crisis Response team or something. Anyway, so we can connect the drones community and the analyst community and also the mapping community. So last year, 2019, a big typhoon, the name is Hagibis, attacked to Japan. So huge size. And after that, so we went disaster affected area with our drone. So mainly we are using fixed wing type of drones like this. Anyway, so this after that we they did those detecting imageries, and we made also mosaic data, and just the same days we have published this imagery on open aerial map, and also we provided those data for local government office. And sometimes so that landslide happened like this. This is the Sagamihara 3 area in Kanagawa Prefecture. So anyway, typhoon attacked situation. So we have to confirm that the building situation and the landslide situation and other flood or some how to say the road situation, bridge. Anyway, so those imagery can support the situations, understanding situation for the local people and the local government side. And so that is our experience in last year. And also, so if disaster happens, so we should work with local government side. So that situation is very important for the pre-event training. So that means disaster drills. So this photo taken in Saitama Prefecture, and so we are detecting and testing, and we should explain about how to exchange our data set for local people and local government side. And many times we taken the testing data set and we provided those test data set for local people. And so we understanding, so if our project will extend and we should make more strong community, so we have to make the agreement with local government side. So our team is a non-profit organization. And so local government side understanding. So if we want to collaborate, the documentation is very important. And now we are extending those agreement network. And actually, in this year, so totally we have about over 30 agreement with local government side, local governments around the Tokyo area. So, and now we are extending for more area, huge area. So we said that situation is a disaster drill 2.0. So now we are extending agreement, and we are extending the drones testing. We are making testing data set. And also, if disaster happened, immediately we have to work. So that combination. And so maybe many people understanding. So many times the internal local government office, so they cannot understand that correct drones technology. But if we can collaborate, we can provide many information and technique and experience. And yeah, in Japan, so that photo taken in the traditional disaster drill, that annual disaster drill for the local people. And now we are bringing our drones, and we made those experience booth, and we showed our drones operation. And now we are actually our data will provide those disaster drill situation. So. And this photo data taken by the Odawara City and Kanagawa Prefecture side with our team. So in last 2 months. So yeah, maybe you can understand. So whole members will put the masks. And yeah, coronavirus situation is very serious, but we cannot stop the disaster drill with our drone. So actually, every month or every time, so we bring our drones, and local government side join our disaster drill. And actually, we take a lot of aerial photo data, and that day we provide those data sets for local people. That's so yeah, disaster drills can change for more useful and effective training for the whole peoples. So that is our experience. And anyway, so our main target is a disaster prevention and mitigation. And if so disaster happened, we should work with the local government side. And so our team will move to the more good society. So like this. So this image can explain. So general situation. So drone can support for the human's activity, like the normal community. So they can bring something, they can take, they can bring, provide some information, they can make some good situation. Anyway, so disaster situation is very important, but we should extend more good society. How to make more good society with drones technology. Thank you so much. That is my experience and our result.
Thank you so much, Taichi. This is so inspiring, especially when you said that in spite of COVID-19, you did not stop your drills.
Yes.
We have stopped our entire country. And you're not even stopping the drills. And this is what we all should learn from Japan, because no matter how many disasters you face, you always come out from it And this is so inspiring. Thank you so much. And I
You're
believe
welcome.
I have learned a lot from you. Like, I'm leading India Flying Labs, but these are so many lessons that I need to take from you to take our cause further. Thank you so much, Taichi. Uh,
You're welcome.
Quickly, I would like to ask if anybody has a couple of questions for Taichi right away. Just two or three, not more. We go to Tina.
Mhm.
So, Taichi, I have a question for you. When you conduct these disaster drills, do you follow
Mhm.
some kind of SOP that you have? How does that SOP appear like?
SOP. Sorry, what is the SOP? Please
For
explain.
example, is there a method, is there a process that you follow? Like, these are the criteria that you should be taking care of in the drill. What are you practicing? What is the target practice you're trying to achieve?
Uh, I understand. So yes, so our target is a time series. So because uh, we are thinking, so if big earthquake happened, so we hope that after 2 hours, so we want to provide the drones imagery for everyone. So and now we are estimating so, example, fixed wing type of drone, like the ED,
Hmm.
so we can use for about 1 hour for that actual detecting. And then after that, so we have to calculate and analyze for the also mosaic data set using by SFM process. And so totally, so I guess, so that situation, so, Pix4D React is very fast. So maybe Pix4D React can calculate, finish under the 20 minutes, maybe, I guess. So anyway, after that, we can publish those data set into the OpenAI map. So totally 2 hours time series,
Hmm.
we will complete the publishing our data set. And also the local government side have to receive our data set via internet. So those the data providing process, and we should make the more compact time series. So our target is how to provide under that 2 hours situation. So
Okay. Thanks, Taichi. We have more questions, but I think we will
yeah,
first listen to Tina and then we will answer these questions again. Thank you so much. Tina,
thank
would you
you.
like to take over the session, please? Okay. Can you all see the screen? Yes,
Yes,
Tina.
I can.
Yeah.
All right. I think I can start. Sorry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Tinah Mutubazi, the coordinator for Uganda Flying Labs. I'm just going to take you through the story of risk mapping in Uganda, especially in refugee camps. Just an outline of our presentation. Ruchi, please. Next page.
Sure.
Okay, I shall just give you a brief overview of Uganda Flying Labs, the introduction, and why we are doing risk mapping. The work which we have done in Nakivale, resettlement for refugees, and solutions, questions, and answers. A little about Uganda Flying Labs. We are a mapping and data analytics knowledge hub which solve Ugandan challenges through appropriate robotics, aim to create a future using robotics for social good in communities, especially in communities that are remote, so that they can be enabled to do remote sensing using drones, activities which we have done in the past 2 years. You can see a number of trainings which we have done with UNHCR in northern part of Uganda for refugees, where we were training them to do the remote sensing using drones on their own, and with the Office of the Prime Minister, because they deal with a lot of disaster and preparedness matters. And some of the activities which we've done for training are in agriculture as well as in electrical authorities, to name a few, and humanitarian sector. Next. We are trying to build a local experience in the sector. Now, going back to what we are going to talk about, refugees, risk mapping. Uganda is experiencing a displacement shock at the moment. As you can see on the right, we have the index of 2017 showing that we were ranking fourth. Now we are ranking third in 2020 in less than 3 years. We have over 1.4 million population of refugees. This is due to instability and conflict in neighboring countries. 75% of the refugees are from Southern Sudan, and 17% are from DRC Congo. 8% are from Burundi, Somalia, Kenya, Rwanda, and other countries. To enable us to settle well with the refugees, we have identified 11 areas to host the refugees in the 11 districts within Uganda. So it means that they are in different places according to the area they come from. Ruchi, next. Yeah. Why map the vulnerable communities? Probably is the question you are asking. We are doing it because for certain reasons. One, for decentralizing natural disasters and complex emergencies. Access to high quality, timely information is definitely needed if you want to respond appropriately. Critical precondition for effective aid delivery. Respond adequately to crises, cover data gaps that emerge due to continuous influx. Use geodata for decision making and action plan for development, as well as minimize disasters and risks. Let's talk about risk. What is risk before we really manage the risk itself?
Tinah, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. We're talking about risks. What is risk and why we manage risk? It is the possibility of something bad happening. Risk involves uncertainty about effects, implications of an activity with respect to something. Why manage risks? Plan is very important. Considering various potential risks, events before they occur, we have to avoid loss of property and the refugees themselves. We have to also ensure that we protect their future. Poorly managed migration, including forced displacement, threatens development outcome and increases risk of violence. This has been seen in the past, where we have seen most of the social ethnic groups being given land or for land distribution, fighting over who has been given the best part of the land, favoritism to name a few. So we want to ensure that we mitigate grievances around land distribution and the risk of violence. Can you hear me? Yes. Now we're going to talk about problem statement and risks surrounding refugee camps. Education. Education is key, and if we do not have our refugees occupied in education, there's a high risk of crime, unwanted pregnancies, prostitution, drugs, and alcohol abuse. Security. From the previous slide, I talked about unfair land distribution or feeling stigmatized. It can actually cause conflict between ethnic groups and a lot of fighting and attacks. As you are aware, no one is ever prepared for refugees. Uganda government had to push away some of the wildlife to different zones. Unfortunately, elephants and rhinos know their trek. So they constantly go back to the refugee camps, which was their original home, and attack people. We have to find a way of securing the refugee camps and the communities in the refugee camps. Fire outbreaks and floods have to be a security threat to most refugees due to our poor terrain and climatic conditions, which are continuously changing. We have seen a number of floods affecting Uganda. Fire outbreaks is due to issues of poor garbage disposal and the houses being too crowded, so much that they can catch fire. Agriculture. We ensure that we do not have a risk of food security, poor agroeconomic practices, a high dependence on handouts, by teaching the refugees on how to enable themselves to do agriculture as a form of income and food security. Water and sanitation. There is high potential and risk of disease outbreak due to poor water circulation and contaminated water. Poor garbage disposal, landfill capacity, if it exceeds, it can actually cause to explosion, as you have seen what happened in Ethiopia. That's one of the risks. Long waits for domestic water and construction water at the taps or the points of water collection is one of the great risks, which can make people very agitated, end up fighting, and so forth. Lastly, health. Shortage of critical medical services is a high risk. It can actually create a lot of disease prevalence because they are not being attended to, and high mortality rate. Notwithstanding, we can also think of COVID-19. It's one of the greatest risks we are working towards in refugee camps, considering that we have already identified two refugees that sneaked in from a border, which was a little relaxed. So COVID-19 is one of the risks which we are working towards. Next slide. Objectives of using drones. It is to identify the roads, the standards of medical facilities, identify the landfills and areas of garbage disposal to see whether they are within the area where people are and can contaminate them. Water points. How many water points do we have? Are they boreholes? Are they wells? Are they tap water? reception area, we are talking about the place where all the refugees first originate from before they are distributed to the appropriate places. We also want to locate, when we use drone imagery, the free space that is still surrounding the refugee camps so that we can plan better. We want to also use the drones. We use the drones to make relation studies on resources against population in villages. And definitely respond to COVID-19 is one of the key things which we have been doing. Thank you. Next slide. A little about Nakivale refugee settlement. It is on the western side of Uganda, on southwest. You can see a small map which has been developed. It's one of the risk maps on the right. It's right on the corner of the country on the southwest. Currently, it hosts 119,587 refugees, mostly from DRC, Burundi, Somalia, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Eritrea. This is one of the oldest refugee camps. Land is mainly used by refugees and a host community which is surrounding the refugee camp. Next. Next, Ruchi. Thank you. Why MEB Nakivale settlement? Around March this year, we were approached by ALERT, which was formerly called American Refugee Committee. The main purpose of this mapping was to collaborate with them in areas of mapping so that they could have these objectives achieved. First, we needed to establish the existing settlements, plan for the future, the infrastructure projects to be developed from where they are, expansion of schools, and create more reception areas where people can be received from. As you can see, one of our pilots is with them. The scope was to map 3 days and 2 days of community engagement, which we definitely embrace. As Uganda Flying Labs, we ensure that wherever we go, there's a small training for the community so that we can have them have a feel of the drones and be passionate about it for their future. 12 different grounds were mapped. The methodology was overlapping, and we used Pix 4D, and the imagery you can see which was stitched after the processing. Next slide. Deliverable. The 12 images after being stitched, that was the output, and AutoMosaic aerial photo was generated stitching different images. We didn't do much of Pictera to actually identify the buildings in this exercise, but that's one thing we need to do next so that we can compare the ratios of people who are being serviced against the resources. Next. Contours. One of the key highlights which was requested by our client was contours. This was for them to enable to learn about the shape of the land so that they could establish how best they can do their construction as engineers. It's unfortunate that few of the lines show flat areas. Most of that area is very hilly from what we can see from the contours. It's a mountainous area. Next slide, Ruchi. Thank you. Contours. We are still on the contours. We also determined, we extracted and developed some maps from the images. The AutoMosaic also helped us to determine the land use and land cover so that the client, which is American Refugee, would be able to see how best they can evacuate people to areas that are free. Thank you. Solutions. With the images that we extracted, some solutions came along because it just bordered alongside the invasion of COVID-19 in Uganda. That was in March. We had just submitted, so we have used some of the data to work with COVID solutions. We have relocated, some of the refugees have been relocated to host villages just outside the camp in order to decongest the villages and avoid the spread of COVID. Market congestion within the refugee villages have been really crowded, so there is education on social distancing and other SOPs are being implemented. Extra water potable points have been installed for hand washing around the communities. Expansion of reception areas has also been looked into. Construction of schools is underway. That was the major area of interest when they started this project. A little more on COVID response. Lastly, yes, I will not say all that we have tried to achieve using the maps for COVID response in Nakivale. However, I can say that we are really grateful that the huge square mileage, we can easily interpret it instantly in a short time in order for the team to optimally respond to the needs of the community. We can actually see and match the shape and predefined database in order for them to also procure protective equipment and hand sanitizers for health workers as well as the community in proportion to the size of the community, the land space. Provide mobile cash vouchers for the most vulnerable to access private water, toilet emptying, and other supplies. Monitor places where people typically gather, like water points and clinics. Accurately address the SOPs such as social distancing and hygiene practices. Appoint COVID-19 focal points within country programs to coordinate with National Health Ministry will help ensure refugees are not left out in the government plans. I think we have been focusing on city people more than the refugees, but now it is caught on, especially with that we already had the information just at the tail of COVID-19 starting. And then leveraging data for transparency and monitoring and response for those who are stakeholders in refugee. Building of community, culture, and trust is being done at a scalable response because of the maps. We also intend to improve the landfill and waste disposal sites to avoid exposure to contaminant surfaces and insight to the household capacity in relation to the health services, especially when it comes to disease prevalence, has also been done. We are going to use Pictera to see how many households we have, how many toilets are near the household, how many taps are there to service the households, etc., etc., etc. That is one of the reasons why we have been using the images. Last but not least, we shall ascertain hazard points and how to access the roads for medical vehicles. As I've already said, we wanted to see which ones are the primary, secondary, tertiary roads and the paths so that we can actually plan very well. If we have to evacuate any of the patients from the refugee camp, we have an understanding and we can give the map to the medical team within the ministry. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry that I ate it without that. Any questions will be taken.
Thank you so much, Tinah. Thank you so much, Tinah.
Thank you so much.
I request Amit and Saksham to please take over this whole question and answer session.
Hello, Tinah ma'am. Hello, Taichi sir. This is Amit here.
Hi.
So there was a question by Mayank for Taichi sir. What challenges did you face by introducing drones in
Yes, there was a challenge. It was more to do with legislation and issues of permissions. Usually you have to ask for permission from the Office of the Prime Minister, because that is the one which deals with disaster. At first it wasn't easy, but now because we have a relationship with them, it's quite easy. Whoever comes to approach us about doing drone training or any capturing of images in the refugee camps, it's much better. With drones, the challenge is basically around security. Why are you taking images? Is it for personal use, or you want to send it to a foreign country? There are so many other dynamics which come with drone imagery, UAV capturing in refugee camps. It's a sensitive area.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Thank you.
Yes.
So there's a question from Ayushma Pant. How do you leverage the data obtained, like on a software basis? I guess.
Aksham, is this question for Tinah or Taichi?
Tinah. For Tinah, ma'am.
Sorry, can you come again? I didn't get it clearly.
Okay, for Tinah, ma'am, there's a question from Ayushma Pant. How do you leverage the data obtained?
How do I?
Leverage the data obtained.
How do we leverage the data?
Leverage the data. Like, how do you use the data, or how do you apply the data? Is that, Ishma, do you want to explain your question, please?
Okay, let me try and answer him from a simple point, from what I've understood. When you talk about leveraging data can be sensitive in the sense that it depends with the purpose, why you are capturing the data. Ideally, our job as Uganda Flying Labs is to collect data, process, and deliver it to the client. And then the client has the honors to give us permission to share the data, depending on the level and tiers he feels relevant for the ordinary public. However, being an OpenStreetMap community, which is what I am, I represent Uganda Flying Labs as well as OpenStreetMap Uganda. We also envision making sure that the data we have, we also put it into OSM with certain levels of permission from the client. Does that answer you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
There's another question for Taichi sir. How Japan deals with the agriculture sector inside drone disasters?
Hi, thank you for question. So that agriculture section, sometimes, I said that like the early adapters, farmers side, they're trying drones technology for their work, but so still, so not so major. And now, so I think that is that in my opinion. So first step, so they have to understand very high accuracy that rice field or other farmers areas map data, and mapping is very important. And that means so sometimes so they have to make a plan, and they have to estimate some output or something. Anyway, so now Japanese government side are providing that very rough map data, but the drone can take very high resolution and high accuracy imageries, and that data can change the very good map data. So in Japan's the area is very small, so and the field scale is very small. So, and many times, I think 10 years ago or 20 years ago, Japanese government side tried using by satellite imagery, but the Japanese farmland is very small. So, but drone is very effective. So maybe that situation is changing. But sorry, that the good answer is still not exist. But maybe we have to make and we can change. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the answer.
There's a question for Tinah, ma'am. What risk management mechanism do you use, and do you have any risk managers in the team?
What risk management tools do we use? Did I get you right?
Ma'am, it was basically what risk. Just a second. Yes, risk management mechanism. What risk management mechanism do you use, and do you have any risk managers in the team?
Okay. We use, apart from drone technology, we also do risk management through OpenStreetMap by literally doing the rudiment application of people going into the field and capturing data for floods and other resilience. I don't know if I'm getting you right. That's one of the things we do, and we also post the information on OSM and share it with different stakeholders in risk and disaster management within the government entities and organizations. That's one of the tools which we use, apart from using robotic technology.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I think, Sakshan,
Okay.
there are no more relevant questions for the topic right now.
Or you want to know about the project? I'm seeing someone who's asking about projects.
Yes, when implemented.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, the first part of the session, I was speaking about them, but I was on mute. We have had a World Bank project in the city for floods and resilience, as well as fires in one of the slums. That was basically to ascertain the level of floods which actually have attacked that place. That's one of the risk management projects which we had last year with World Bank. And the other risk management projects which we have had are in water and sanitation with the city authority of Kampala. We're basically seeing how garbage is hit, informal garbage collection points as well as formal ones, how long it takes for them to be collected, how the community responds, and how they collect the garbage themselves is one of the risks, because you see there's quite a lot of disease prevalence which comes with poor garbage collection as well as garbage heaping within the communities. We start having rodents, we start having cockroaches, typhoid, and so many other diseases. Those are some of the risks, especially in health. Those are the ones which we've been dealing with, as well as malaria due to stagnated water in areas which are low-lying areas, the terrain which is close to the water, the lake shores of Uganda, in the swamps. Those are some of the risks which we have been mapping.
All right. Any more questions from anybody? Or else we'll call it a day. Thank you so much, Taichi and Tinah, both of you, for your kind presence and for your generous sharing of your experiences with our class. And just to tell you, we have almost 75 applications in our class. and there are people from all across the world. So because of the time differences, many of them are not joining the live class. Even in spite of that, we had 55 attendance today, which is great. Thank you so much. And this is going to be an ongoing venture, probably, I don't know, but this entire month we are going to be engaging with each other. And we will also collect some more questions in our feedback form from the participants. If anybody has any questions, they can still forward it to you. We're giving them complex assignments like playing around with Google Earth. Today they'll be playing around with Pictera. So these are the assignments we're giving them so that they get more hands-on learning. And so thank you very much. We will end the session today. It's 8:15 in Nepal and 8 o'clock in India and other places, whatever the time is. So good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And we'll meet tomorrow. Continue with your assignments. Thank you once again, Taichi and Tinah, for your generous and wonderful friendship that we shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. It was good being in the class. I'm sorry about the technical hiccup.
Happens. As we say, it's Murphy's Law, whatever will go wrong, has to go wrong, will go wrong, no matter what you do. So no matter how much risk
All
management
right.
you try in advance, it has to happen.
All right. All the best with the class, students.
Thank you very much.
Good day.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, Taichi.